And this is what you've got to do without doing. You've got to learn to distinguish the mind from the body. They're two different things. The mind has your mental and emotional capacity, and it acts out. Its playing field is the body, you see. But the objective for no one is to have the body reassociate to consciousness being the experience. This is the objective. But before you can get to that, you have to meditate what it is that keeps distracting you from that. And that is your mental and emotional sense self that is in the pattern of possessing the body, the old ego pattern. But with consciousness being awakened, there's no ego, but you are left with the pattern. And this takes time to kind of iron out, to be with, and to start allowing whatever sense self reality you have going on in terms of doership or perception or a pull to be defined emotionally or mentally. One has to simply observe it and experience it. Consciousness is the experience, but it's not qualified by it. So remain as is and allow whatever emotion, whatever thought process and emotional process that seems to be pulling you away from consciousness being experienced, just remain as consciousness. Okay. Just remain as consciousness. And allow the meaning of such emotional intent with its mental counterpart of perceived meaning. Just allow it no meaning. Allow the knowing of it to be the meaning. This, in a sense, will at times feel counterintuitive, because up until now, so much meaning of emotion has been given to the mind. Okay, the mind, the way the mind uses emotion, it sort of becomes a self-will direction over what it is you're really feeling in the body. So remaining as awareness and learning to discriminate can feel counterintuitive, you say, but this is where you begin to learn the action and the power of unconditional heart experience. Okay, and again, this is for no one. This is as no one, but what you first are as consciousness, and as that heart of experience, you'll start to see that if you give the emotion and the mental identity like a loop when it goes into pattern, just allow the experience of that to remain as consciousness, the mental and emotional pattern of belief will start to reassociate to consciousness being the experience. This is the objective of meditation. This is the objective of sadhana. At first, you'll, just by knowing this, you'll feel powerful, because you know consciousness. As consciousness, you have your knowing, and you'll feel powerful and liberated. But don't underestimate the old pattern that wants to resurrect itself as the doer. Okay, it's just a pattern. It's not, you can already know you're not that. So for a while, you'll be baffled as to how come I know this knowing, but how come I still get lost sometimes in this madness or in this emotional overload that seems so judgmental on someone or so critical of myself. You see, it can still, these energies can still have that old acquired meaning, this old patterning of personal belief and qualification, you see. So after a while, you get pulled in and then you get thrown out. Sometimes this pattern will wipe the floor with you, and then you'll come back because you cannot lose what you know. But where you are the experience of what you're seeing, it will feel as if you've got lost. But after time, your meditation gets stronger. It becomes more established. And suddenly, the love of awareness starts to be born. The heart of experience, the natural state, starts to be more established, where one day you simply love awareness more than any emotion or thought that may pull you into a sense of personal identity being defined by what you think or what you feel. One day you just wake up and go, it's okay. It's okay. And you allow it. You just totally accept your obsessions, your weird tendencies, and you just remain as awareness. And it's completely unconditional. You just start to see how the only way out is not by pushing it away or by simply saying, I know I am consciousness and that's an illusion. It doesn't work. It has to, form is not separate from your knowing of it. So it has to reassociate to knowing. And in the beginning, it can be quite testing, and you will be tested. No one, I know spiritual teachers can stand up and appear spiritual, but the truth is they've all gone through it. Everyone goes through this, of you wake up to your essential nature and then realize that nothing is separate from that. And the only way out of it is to accept it completely and unconditionally through meditation and through seeing, you see. And it's through this process you may feel you've lost it, and then you come back to your knowing. And so there's still a bit of inference in yourself that you like awareness and get back to awareness. But then one day you're just awareness, and it's like, I don't care anymore. I'm just awareness. Give me what you want. And then it will come up, and you just accept it. And from that awareness, you know that simply by remaining as awareness, that the mental and emotional nature is already starting to associate to consciousness. And it's here that you begin to learn merging, and consuming. You begin to consume any negative thought, any weird tendency or personal doership tendency. You start to consume it. You realize that where consciousness is the experience and nothing is separate from it, as awareness, you are the consuming. That everything is consciousness. And it doesn't matter what it looks like in your patterning. It doesn't qualify you. You remain the experience. You remain the consumption of any form that is arising, so that it starts to associate to what is experiencing. So suddenly the mental and the emotional nature start to not have such a grip. They start to soften. As the love of awareness becomes more, the idea of you that's still sewn in the pattern of you becomes less. And something remarkable happens here. One of the things that's so remarkable is you really see your dishonesty of what you've done in your mental and emotional claim of the body. You really see how dishonest it is. and how honest awareness just is. So honest, beautifully so. And where this dishonesty, and it's not a crime, it's just separation, but separation being an illusion is itself a dishonesty. As this falls away, and you see the dishonesty of it, and you like the honesty of awareness, awareness then becomes aware of your deeper self, of your body. There's nothing trying to self-direct it or self-will it anymore. The self-will has abated and associated to the true will of the open heart that is just seeing. That is the true will. That is the will of God. The first manifestation is this knowing that comes first. It is the word. We are all the word. We are all sons of God, you see, sons and daughters of God, as Jesus said. And this is what he was pointing at. The only begotten Son is consciousness. We are all that. We are that oneness itself, that is knowing of the ground of all being, which is God, you see. So then, as this dishonesty, our projection, our mental and emotional narrative begins to abate, one starts going deeper into the body. And as you begin to enter into the body, you really see how you've never existed. You've never really owned your wound. You've never really owned your pain. You've never really owned your own you've never owned what you really feel, the history of you that is in your body, that is where there's no argument, there's just what you've experienced in life. And then you come to see that the dishonesty, the separation, was a self-will direction of it to avoid it. And in doing that, avoiding reality itself, you see. It's incredible. And as you enter into the body, you enter into the meditation of non-existence. I've spoken about this before. It's here that you've never existed, but you've avoided it or managed it in your mental and emotional nature, and you have objectified yourself, you know, allowed yourself to be defined by your environment, by maybe what you feel as a result of that. You've never been yourself, but only consciousness can claim you, you see. Only consciousness can claim your body and really know your body and really know your history and be totally okay with it all, totally okay with it all. And that's when you deepen. That's when, once you get to the bodily sensation and you're at a point of meditation whereby when you feel the body sensation, an instinct or a memory or something, you'll catch it, you'll see it, where you'll see how the emotion is then given to the mind, the intuition of the body itself, because that's what emotion is. It's intuition of the body. You'll see where it had gone to the mind and how the mind possessed it and possessed the body, you see. But now, entering into non-existence, into what you really feel, what your true sorrow is, what your true joy is, that's where it is in the body, the true sorrow, the true joy. And they're beautiful. They're beautiful. But that impulse to possess it through mental and emotional direction, self-will direction, ego direction, is so dishonest and distortive. Is there such a word as distortive? Distorted. But then when it goes and you are as awareness coming into the body, then you start to feel what you really feel, and it's very honest. The real feeling is very honest. It's profoundly honest. You could see that below the mental and emotional direction, really, there's a sorrow that's so painful, but it's so sweet, because it's clean and it's pure, and it's just what happened to you, for instance. And when that begins to associate to consciousness being the experience, it's just profound. The body starts to associate to what is experiencing as consciousness. Now we're giving everything away to consciousness to keep it, giving everything away to consciousness to keep it, to keep consciousness. So going from objectification, which is where the mind uses the emotional intuition of the body for itself. So you've been emotional just for yourself. The body's given back to consciousness, and then suddenly the emotion is given back to consciousness. It becomes an intuition that becomes cleaner, becomes more associated to consciousness being the experience. It's fascinating.